The night shift at Earth's Deep Space Monitoring Station was usually quiet. Tonight was different. Tom Miller stared at his screen, checking the readings for the third time. The energy patterns near Jupiter made no sense. "Hey Jack, can you look at this?" Tom called to his supervisor. "These signatures aren't like anything we've seen before." Jack walked over, coffee cup in hand. His eyes widened as he looked at the screen. Within an hour, every major space agency on Earth was alerted. The first images came from the orbital telescopes. What they showed stunned everyone. 15 massive ships, each bigger than the largest aircraft carrier ever built on Earth, drifting aimlessly near Jupiter's orbit. Their designs were clearly not human, with smooth curves and materials that seemed to shimmer even in the dim sunlight so far from the sun. Earth's Unified Space Command quickly assembled their best first contact team. They watched as the strange ships tumbled slowly through space, their movements suggesting they were not under power. Emergency protocols were activated worldwide, but there was no hostile action from the vessels. Instead, they were broadcasting a signal, a simple mathematical sequence that any advanced civilization would recognize as a call for help. Commander William Hayes of the U.S. Hope, Earth's newest deep space vessel, led the first approach. His ship carried a team of linguists, scientists, and engineers. As they drew closer to the alien fleet, the true scale of the situation became clear. The massive ships were damaged, their once powerful engines dark and cold. "This is Commander Hayes of the Earth ship Hope," he broadcast, the message translated into various mathematical and symbolic formats. "We've received your distress signal. Do you need assistance?" The response came quickly, a series of mathematical equations that the ship's computers quickly decoded into basic communication. The aliens were refugees, their fleet damaged while fleeing from a cosmic disaster in their home system. Their faster-than-light drives had failed, leaving them stranded in an unknown system, Earth's solar system. Through careful communication, the humans learned that these beings called themselves the Visitors. They had been traveling for months, their backup systems barely keeping their life support functioning. They had chosen to enter Earth's solar system hoping to find help, though they hadn't expected to find an advanced civilization. The first visual contact happened through video transmission. The visitors looked almost like tall, graceful deer walking on two legs, with iridescent skin that changed colors as they moved. Their large eyes showed intelligence and, currently, worry. Earth's governments debated their response, but not for long. Despite some fears and concerns, humanity's better nature won out. The sight of families and children aboard the damaged vessels, visible in the transmitted images, touched hearts worldwide. The decision was made. Earth would help. Commander Hayes sent the message that would change Earth's history. "We understand you're in need. Earth extends its help to your people. We will do everything in our power to assist with repairs and provide any necessary supplies." The relief from the alien fleet was almost palpable. Their response included technical data about their ship's conditions. Earth's engineers began studying the information immediately, though much of it was beyond their current technology level. As the Hope moved closer to the alien fleet, Hayes looked at his crew. They were nervous but determined. This would be humanity's first major test on the galactic stage. They had no idea if they could actually help with repairs to technology far more advanced than their own, but they would try. "Send word back to Earth," Hayes ordered. "Tell them we need every engineer and scientist who can make it out here. And let's show these visitors what humans can do when someone needs help." The message went out, and Earth responded. Within days, ships from every major spacefaring nation were preparing for launch. Humanity was about to embark on its greatest engineering challenge yet, saving a civilization they had just met. The visitors watched in amazement as ship after ship departed Earth, all coming to their aid. Perhaps, they thought, they had been fortunate to find not just any civilization, but one that would face such an enormous challenge without hesitation. The rescue mission had begun. 3 days after first contact, The largest space operation in human history was underway. Ships from every space-capable nation launched toward Jupiter's orbit. The sight of so many vessels leaving Earth's atmosphere created light shows visible from the ground, drawing crowds who watched in wonder. Captain Robert Wells stood on the bridge of the Tranquility, Earth's largest repair vessel. His ship carried over 200 engineers and technicians from 30 different countries. The massive cargo holds were filled with tools, spare parts, and raw materials. Nobody knew exactly what they would need, so they brought everything they could think of. Status report. Wells called out to his crew. "All systems running smooth, Captain," answered Mary from her station. "We'll reach the alien fleet in 6 hours." Wells looked at the main screen showing their destination. The 15 alien ships hung in space like wounded giants. Their once smooth surfaces were damaged, showing dark patches where their special metal had failed. The Tranquility would be the 5th human ship to arrive, with 20 more following behind. In the ship's main conference room, engineers studied the technical data from the visitors. James, the head engineer, pointed at a holographic display of the alien engines. "Their technology is amazing," he said, "but also fragile. They focused so much on making everything perfect that they never planned for things going wrong. They don't even have backup systems like we do." The other engineers nodded. Human ships carried multiple backup systems, knowing that space was dangerous and things often went wrong. The visitors had built their ships assuming nothing would ever break. The first challenge came when they tried to dock with the alien vessels. The visitors' airlocks were different from anything humans had seen before, but human engineers were good at solving problems. Within hours, they had built adapters using 3D printers and spare parts. Wells watched from the bridge as the first team of engineers entered the alien ship. The visitors were surprised by how the humans worked. While the aliens tried to plan everything perfectly, humans would try something, see if it worked, and then try something else if it didn't. "They keep asking why we bring so many different tools," reported Lisa, one of the engineers, over the radio. "They don't understand why we don't just bring the perfect tool for each job." "Tell them we've learned the hard way that there's rarely a perfect tool," Wells replied. "Sometimes you need to use what you have and make it work." The biggest surprise came when they examined the alien engines. The visitors used an advanced form of faster-than-light travel, but the system was completely dead. They thought it would be impossible to fix without their homeworld's special facilities. But humans had been fixing things in space for over 100 years. They knew there was always a way, even if it wasn't pretty. Teams of engineers began taking apart the damaged engines, studying how they worked. "Look at this," James called out during another meeting. "Their power system isn't so different from our fusion reactors. It's more advanced, sure, but the basic principles are similar. We might not be able to fix it exactly like it was, but we can probably get it working." Wells smiled as he watched the teams work, humans and visitors working side by side, learning from each other. The aliens were amazed by human creativity and determination. They had never seen anyone tackle problems quite this way before. By the end of the first week, they had a plan. It wouldn't be quick or easy, but they could help the visitors. Earth's governments had already approved sharing their fusion technology if it would help. "Send word to all ships," Wells ordered. "Tell them to prepare for long-term operations. We're going to need everyone's help to pull this off." The message went out to the growing fleet of human ships. Nobody complained about the work ahead. This was humanity's chance to show what they could do, and they weren't going to waste it. The real work was about to begin. 2 weeks into the rescue mission, something unexpected happened. The humans and visitors began to learn from each other in ways no one had predicted. The alien fleet commander, who the humans called Blue Sky because of his shifting blue skin color, stood in the Tranquility's observation deck with Captain Wells. They watched as teams of human engineers worked on the damaged alien ships, using simple tools in creative ways. "I don't understand," Blue Sky said, his translator converting his musical language into English. "Your people use such basic technology, Yet they solve problems we thought impossible. Wells smiled. Sometimes the simplest solutions are the best ones. We learned it the hard way over many years of space exploration. In the main repair bay, human engineers were teaching visitor technicians about backup systems. The aliens watched in fascination as the humans explained how they built redundancy into everything. "But why waste resources on systems you may never use?" asked one visitor engineer. "Because space is dangerous," explained Mike, the lead human engineer. "Something always goes wrong eventually. Better to be prepared than sorry." The visitors were amazed by human music when they heard it for the first time. During break periods, engineers would play songs from their different cultures. The aliens discovered that human music used mathematics in ways they had never considered. "Your music contains mathematical patterns like ours," Blue Sky told Wells. "But you add something else. Emotion. We never thought to do that." The learning went both ways. The visitors taught humans about their advanced materials, showing them how their ship's outer hulls could repair themselves when damaged. Humans immediately began thinking of ways to combine this with their own more durable materials. In the ship's cafeteria, another kind of exchange was happening. The visitors were plant eaters, and human cooks were creating new dishes they could eat. The aliens were fascinated by the variety of ways humans prepared food. "You have so many different ways to eat the same thing," one visitor noted, watching a chef prepare vegetables in 3 different styles. "We never thought about making food interesting." The biggest surprise came when the visitors saw how humans handled emergencies. During a repair operation, a power surge threatened one of the work areas. The human team responded instantly, everyone knowing their role without needing orders. "How did they do that without a perfect plan?" Blue Sky asked Wells. "We train for the unexpected," Wells explained. "We know we can't plan for everything, so we learn to adapt quickly." The visitors began to understand that what they had first seen as human primitiveness was actually a different kind of advancement. Humans had learned to be flexible, to improvise, to work with whatever they had. One day, a young visitor engineer figured out how to combine human repair techniques with their own technology. She had learned from watching how humans fixed things and applied that creativity to her own knowledge. "See," Mike told his team, "we're not just fixing ships here, we're showing each other new ways to think." The visitors also shared their star maps with the humans, showing them the vast galaxy they had explored. But they were surprised when humans asked questions they had never thought to ask, like what's inside that nebula? Or why does that star pulse that way? "Your people have such curiosity," Blue Sky told Wells. "You don't just want to know what things are, you want to know why they are." By the end of the 3rd week, both species had learned valuable lessons from each other. The visitors learned about redundancy, creativity, and the value of asking questions. The humans learned about advanced technologies and new ways of seeing the universe. Perhaps, Wells wrote in his log that night, "This rescue mission is helping both our species more than we expected. We're not just fixing ships, we're building bridges between 2 very different ways of thinking." The work continued, but now with a deeper understanding between the 2 species. Each day brought new discoveries, new questions, and new ways of solving problems together. 1 month into the rescue mission, the human engineers finally understood what was wrong with the alien ship's faster-than-light drives. The problem was both simpler and more complex than anyone had expected. Mike stood in front of a large group of engineers, both human and visitor, pointing at a hologram of the alien engine. "The main drive isn't completely broken," he explained. "It's more like it's stuck. Think of it like a car with its gears jammed." The visitors had never thought of their advanced technology in such simple terms. They watched with interest as Mike continued his explanation. "We can't fix it exactly like it was," he said, "but we might be able to get it working again using something we know well, nuclear fusion." James, another engineer, stepped forward with a modified fusion reactor design on his tablet. "We've been using fusion power for decades," he explained. "It's not as advanced as your technology, but it's reliable. We think we can use it to jumpstart your drives." The visitor engineers looked confused. "But that's primitive technology," one said. "How can it power our advanced drives?" "Sometimes old technology works better than new," James replied. "Our fusion reactors aren't perfect, but they're strong, and they rarely fail. And most importantly, we can fix them when they do break." Work began on the first test reactor. Human engineers used parts from their own ships, combining them with salvaged pieces of the alien technology. The visitors watched in amazement as the humans worked, often using simple tools to handle advanced materials. "Watch this," Mike said, showing a visitor engineer how to use a basic wrench. Sometimes the old ways work just fine. The breakthrough came during the third week of testing. A young engineer named Amy noticed something everyone else had missed. "Look at the energy patterns," she said, pointing to a screen. "They're similar to what we see in our oldest fusion reactors. We've been trying to be too fancy. We need to go back to basics." The team rebuilt their test system using Amy's insights. They combined the raw power of human fusion technology with the elegant control systems of the visitor drives. It wasn't pretty, but it worked. "It's like using a sledgehammer to turn on a light switch," James joked. But sometimes a sledgehammer is exactly what you need. The first full test was conducted on the smallest of the visitor ships. Everyone watched nervously as they powered up the hybrid drive system. The ship's engines hummed to life, different from their original sound but strong and steady. "The power output is only 60% of our original engines," a visitor engineer reported. "But it's stable, more stable than our original design." Captain Wells watched from the Tranquility's bridge as the test ship moved under its own power for the first time in months. "Sometimes less efficient but more reliable is better than perfect but fragile," he said to Blue Sky, who stood beside him. The visitors began to see their technology in a new way. They had always pursued perfection, but humans showed them that perfection wasn't always the best goal. Reliability, simplicity, and ease of repair were just as important. Plans were made to modify all 15 ships with the new hybrid drives. It would take time, but now they knew it would work. The human engineers had proven that sometimes moving backward could be the best way to move forward. "We'll need to retrofit all the ships," Mike told the combined engineering teams. "It won't be quick, and it won't be easy, but we know how to do it now. And we'll get it done." The visitors looked at their ships, now being transformed by a combination of their advanced science and human practical engineering. They were learning that progress didn't always mean making things more complex. Sometimes the best solutions were the simple ones. The real work was just beginning, but now everyone knew what needed to be done. The warning came without notice. Earth's solar monitoring stations detected a massive solar flare heading straight toward the rescue fleet near Jupiter. It was one of the largest solar events ever recorded. "All ships, emergency protocol Alpha." Captain Wells' voice boomed through every communication channel. "We have less than 40 minutes before the solar storm hits our position." The human ships knew what to do. They had trained for solar storms, even if they had never faced one this big. But the visitor ships, still undergoing repairs, were vulnerable. Many had their outer shields partially removed for the retrofit work. "We can't get their shields back in place in time," Mike reported from his engineering station. "The mounting points are exposed. One direct hit from this storm could fry their entire electrical system." Blue Sky's voice came through the communication system, calm but worried. "Our ships have never faced such an event. We don't have protocols for this." "Then we'll make some," Wells replied. "All human ships form a defensive screen around the visitor fleet. Divert all power to forward shields." The human ships moved quickly, creating a protective wall between the coming storm and the vulnerable alien vessels. It was a dangerous move. Their shields were stronger than the visitors' damaged ones, but they weren't designed to handle a storm this powerful. In the engine room of the Tranquility, engineers worked frantically to boost shield power. They were using tricks learned from decades of space travel, pushing their equipment to its limits. Reroute power from the rear sections, James ordered. We don't need life support in the empty cargo bays right now. Divert everything to the shields. The visitors watched in amazement as the humans worked. There was no perfect plan, no careful procedure. Everyone simply did what needed to be done, adapting to each new problem as it arose. First wave hitting in 5 minutes, called out Mary from her station. All ships brace for impact. Wells looked at his display. 12 human ships formed a protective line, their shields overlapping. Behind them, the 15 visitor ships huddled together, their crews working frantically to protect their most vulnerable systems. The first wave hit like a hammer. The human ships shuddered as their shields took the brunt of the solar storm. Warning alarms blared throughout every vessel. Shield power dropping. Someone shouted. Down to 60%. Reroute emergency power. Wells ordered. Hold the line. The storm grew stronger. On the engineering deck, Mike and his team fought to keep the shields stable. They used every trick they knew, some of them making up new ones on the spot. The visitors' ships are holding, Mary reported. Our shield wall is working. But the storm wasn't over. The main wave was still coming. The human ship's shields were already strained, and power levels were dropping. Then Blue Sky's voice came through again. We've been studying how your shields work. If we channel power from our remaining functional systems through your shield grid. Do it, Wells ordered. Engineering. Work with the visitor ships. Link whatever systems you can. What happened next had never been tried before. Human shield technology, powered by both human and alien energy sources, created a barrier stronger than either species could have made alone. The main wave of the storm hit. Every ship rocked with the impact. But the combined shields held. For 20 long minutes, the fleet endured the solar storm. When it finally passed, every ship had damage, but they were all intact. What could have been a disaster had become proof of what both species could accomplish together. Damage report. Wells called out once the danger had passed. Shields at 12%, hull damage on decks 4 through 7, but all critical systems are functioning, Mary replied. Every ship in the fleet survived, Captain. The crews of both fleets celebrated together. They had faced a crisis that neither species could have handled alone, and they had won through cooperation and quick thinking. As the engineers began repairs again, everyone knew something had changed. Humans and visitors were no longer just rescuer and rescued. They were partners. After surviving the solar storm, work on the hybrid drives moved faster than ever. Both humans and visitors now understood how well they could work together, combining the best of both their technologies. In the main hangar of the Tranquility, Mike and his engineering team put the final touches on the prototype hybrid drive. It looked strange. A mix of sleek alien technology and sturdy human engineering. Thick power cables connected to elegant control systems, while modified fusion reactors powered crystalline energy matrices. It's not pretty, Mike said to the gathered crowd of human and visitor engineers, but it's stronger than either of our original designs. Blue Sky stepped forward to inspect the drive. We would never have thought to build something like this, he admitted. Our people always tried to make everything perfect and beautiful. But you humans taught us that function matters more than appearance. The first full power test was ready to begin. They had installed the new drive in the smallest visitor ship, which they now used as a test vessel. Everyone gathered in the control room to watch. Beginning power-up sequence, James announced. Fusion reactors online. Power flow stable. The drive hummed to life. It sounded a strange mix of human and visitor technology. On the monitoring screens, power levels rose steadily. When they reached full power, a cheer went up from both human and alien engineers. Power output is 80% of our original drives, reported a visitor engineer, her skin glowing with excitement. And the stability readings are better than anything we've ever seen. Captain Wells stood with Blue Sky, watching the test results come in. It may not be as fast as your original drives, Wells said, but it will get you home. And more importantly, you can repair it if something goes wrong. The next test was even more important. They had to see if the drive could actually move the ship through space. The test vessel moved away from the fleet, preparing for its first jump. All systems ready, came the report from the test ship. Beginning short range faster than light jump. Everyone held their breath. The ship's new drive glowed brightly. Then, in a flash of light, the vessel disappeared. 3 seconds later, it reappeared exactly where they had planned, 10,000 kilometers away. Jump successful. The crew's excited voices filled the communication channels, all systems functioning perfectly. The success meant they could start upgrading the rest of the fleet. Teams of engineers, both human and visitor, began working on all 15 ships at once. They had refined the process, making it faster and more efficient with each installation. "We've learned more in these few months than in years of normal research," one visitor scientist told Wells. "Not just about technology, but about different ways of thinking about problems." The humans had learned too. The visitors' advanced theoretical knowledge helped them understand their own technology better. Already, engineers were talking about how to improve Earth's ships using what they had learned. As each ship was upgraded, they tested its new drive system. One by one, the visitor vessels regained their ability to travel through space. The sight of the huge ships moving under their own power again filled everyone with pride. "We did it," Mike said, watching another successful test. "We actually did it." In the final meeting between the fleet commanders, Blue Sky spoke to the assembled crews. "When we first arrived here, damaged and lost, we thought we had found a primitive civilization. Instead, we found teachers who showed us a new way of looking at everything. We will take these lessons back to our people." Captain Wells smiled. "And we'll remember that sometimes the most advanced civilization isn't the one with the fanciest technology, but the one that knows how to use what they have most effectively." The retrofit of the entire fleet was nearly complete. Soon, the visitors would be able to continue their journey, but now they would travel with new knowledge, new technology, and new friends in the galaxy. What had started as a rescue mission had become something much more important, the beginning of a lasting partnership between two very different civilizations. The day of departure arrived 3 months after the visitors had first appeared in Earth's solar system. All 15 ships, now equipped with their hybrid drives, floated in formation near Jupiter's orbit. Their hulls gleamed in the distant sunlight, repaired and stronger than ever. On the bridge of the Tranquility, Captain Wells and Blue Sky stood together one last time. Through the viewport, they could see the fleet of human ships that had helped make this rescue possible. "Our historians will mark this as the day everything changed," Blue Sky said, his skin shifting through shades of blue and gold. "Not just because you saved us, but because you taught us a better way to face challenges." Wells smiled. "We learned just as much from you. Your advanced technology will help us improve our own ships. But more importantly, we learned we're not alone in the galaxy." The farewell ceremony was broadcast to Earth and recorded for both species' historical archives. Representatives from every human ship gathered in the Tranquility's main hall. The visitors had brought gifts. Data crystals containing star maps, scientific knowledge, and cultural information. "We offer these not as payment," Blue Sky announced, "but as the beginning of a lasting friendship between our peoples." Earth's representatives presented their own gifts. They gave the visitors complete technical data about fusion technology, backup systems, and practical engineering solutions. They also included music, art, and literature from Earth's many cultures. Mike and his engineering team said goodbye to their visitor colleagues. Over the months of working together, they had become close friends despite their differences. "Remember," Mike told them, "sometimes the simplest solution is the best one. And always have a backup plan." The visitor engineers had their own advice to share. "And remember," they replied, "sometimes looking at the theory behind a problem shows you new ways to solve it." As the crews prepared for departure, Earth's long-range sensors detected something interesting. Other ships were approaching from deep space, vessels similar to the visitors. "There are search parties," Blue Sky explained. We sent our position to our homeworld when we knew the repairs would work. They've come to escort us home." The new ships were amazed to find the damaged fleet not only safe but improved. The human ships looked simple next to their advanced vessels, but now the visitors knew that appearances could be deceiving. "Tell them what you found here," Wells said to Blue Sky. "Tell them about a civilization that values practical solutions as much as advanced technology. Tell them Earth's people will always be ready to help others in need." The departure began. One by one, the visitor ships activated their hybrid drives. Each successful jump was met with cheers from both fleets. The new drives worked perfectly, proof that both species' technology could work together. Before the last ship departed, Blue Sky made one final transmission to Earth. "We found you by accident, damaged and in need of help. We leave as friends, having learned that true advancement comes not from having the most sophisticated technology, but from having the wisdom to use what you have well. Earth will be known throughout the galaxy not just for what you know, but for what you are willing to learn." The last ship disappeared in a flash of light, leaving the human fleet alone once again near Jupiter. But Earth's ships wouldn't be alone for long. The visitors had promised to return, not as ships in need of rescue, but as partners in exploring the galaxy. Captain Wells made his final log entry about the visitor fleet. "Today marks not an ending, but a beginning. Earth has taken its first steps into a larger universe. We proved that humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our knowledge, but our ability to work together, adapt, and help others in need. The stars are no longer just lights in our sky. They're paths to new friends waiting to be met." The human fleet turned toward Earth, carrying with them the story of humanity's first great contribution to galactic civilization.